कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुष्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं कौ नयाति पराङ्गतिम् यत्पिबं सततं रामचरितामृतासागरम् अदृप्तस्तं मुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसमकल्मषम् गोष्पदीकृतवारासं मसकीकृतराक्षसं रामायणमहामाला रत्नं वन्दे अनिलात्मजम् अञ्जनानन्दनं वीरं जानकीशोकनाशनं कपीसमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम् आमिषीकृतमार्ताण्डं गोष्पदीकृतसागरं तृणीकृतदशग्रीवम् आञ्जनेयं नमाम्यहम् उल्लङ्घ्य सिन्धोःसलिलसलीलं यशोकवह्निं जनकात्मजायाः आदाय तेनेव ददाह लङ्कां नमामि तं प्राञ्जलिराञ्जनेयम् आञ्जनेयमतिपाटलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पवमाननन्दनं यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि यः कर्णाञ्जलिसम्पुटैः हरः सम्यक् पिबत्यादरात् वाल्मीकिर्वदनारविन्दगलितं रामायणाख्यं मधुः जन्मव्याधिजराविपत्तिमरणैः अत्यन्तसोपद्रवं संसारसह विहाय गच्छति पुमान् विष्णोर्पदं शाश्वतं तदुपगतसमाससन्धियोगं सममधुरोपनतार्धवाक्यबद्धं रघुवरचरितं मुनिप्रणीतं दशशिरसश्च वदं निशामयध्वं वाल्मीकिगिरिसम्भूतानां रामसागरगामिनि पुनादुभुवनं पुण्यात् रामायणं महानदी श्लोकसारसमाकीर्णं सर्गकल्लोलसङ्कुलं काण्डग्राह्यमहामीनं वन्दे रामायणार्णवम् वेदवेदे परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजं वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना वैदेही सहितं सुरुद्रमुतले हैमे महामण्डपे मध्ये पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने सुस्थितम् अग्रे वाचैति प्रभञ्जनसुते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्यपरं वाक्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिवृतं रामं भजे श्यामलं वामे भूमिसुता पुरश्च हनुमान् पाश्चात् सुमित्रासुतः शत्रुघ्नो भरतश्च पार्श्वदलयोः वायव्यादिकोणेषु च सुग्रीवश्च विभीषणश्च युवराट् तारासुतो जाम्बवान् मध्ये नीलसरोजकोमलरुचिं रामं भजे श्यामलं माता रामो मत्पिता रामो भ्राता रामो मत्सखा राघवेशः सर्वस्वं मे रामचन्द्रो दयालु नान्यदेवं नैव जाने न जाने साकेते शरदिन्दुकुन्दधवले सौदे महामण्डपे पर्यस्ता अगरुधूपदीपललिते कर्पूरदीपोज्ज्वले सुग्रीवाङ्गदजाम्बवत् परिवृतं सौमित्रिणा सेवितं लीलामानुषविग्रहं रघुवरं रामं भजे श्यामलं मेघश्यामं महाबाहुं स्थिरसत्त्वं दृढव्रतं कदा द्राक्ष्यामहे रामं जगतः शोकनाशनं जयत्यतिबलो रामो लक्ष्मणश्च महाबलः राजा जयेत् सुग्रीवा राघवेण अभिपालितः दासोऽहं कोसलेन्द्रस्य रामस्य क्लिष्टकर्मणः हनुमान् शत्रुसैन्यानां निहन्तां मारुतात्मजः न रावणसहस्रं मे युद्धे प्रतिबलं भवेत् शिलाविस्तु बृहत्तारपादपैश्च सहस्रशः अर्धयित्वां पुरीं लङ्काम् अभिवाद्यश्च मैथिलीं समृद्धार्दो गमिष्यामि शतां सर्वराक्षसां धर्मात्मा सत्यसन्धश्च रामो दासर्विर्यदि पौरुषे च अप्रतिद्वन्द्वः शरयेन जहि रावणीम् आपदमपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवगौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे तपस्वाध्याय निरतां तपस्विं वाग्विदाम्बरं नारद परिपप्रच्छ वाल्मीकिर्मुनिपुङ्गवम् ओम रामाय नमः. Good crowd for a long weekend. So, yeah. Today we are going to conclude Sundarakanda. Last week we have seen how Madhuvana was destroyed, and the Lord decided to come down and listen one more time, second time in our discourse. This is what we were talking about in the last year's episode. It happened so that we had so many contradictions, like people coming and asking about other Ramayanas. Which Ramayana is authentic? Which Ramayana is Pramana? Children, would you behave the same way when your class teacher is present in your class? No, right? You see that? Yeah. But anyway, so the people were coming towards me and asking all these questions, and I don't know how to deal with them because whatever you say might offend them, right? Because they are born and brought up with so many Ramayanas. We don't want to offend anybody. but at the same time we don't want to tell a lie, right? So I went and asked Harivilas Prabhu, what do I need to do? How do I tackle this? That week he said, okay, you tell them this, that Rama himself came down and sat on the floor and listened to the Ramayana. You tell them this. So Rama approved this Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana. So this is Pramana. So I decided, okay, next week I'll tell this. So I went back and read Lava and Kusha's episode from the beginning, how they narrated Ramayana in Ayodhya and what happened at that time. So how Rama came down and sat. I read that whole thing one more time. I came down to tell that, so that to convince the audience. Then the altar arrived, the same altar. We didn't have the altar at that time, so they bought the altar. So we had to move the deities that week. And while I had to say that, the Lord was on the floor to prove that. And whenever he comes down, I take it as an encouragement. It's for me. I feel it's so personal. It's encouraging. There's nothing wrong in feeling like that. He's your eternal companion. Whatever he does, if you feel that he is doing it for you, it's more encouraging rather than a depressing word that, oh, we are all sinners, the Lord won't see us, It's so depressing. That's a depressive attitude. But thinking that, no, the Lord sees me, I am important to him than his eternal consort will encourage you, will inspire you more to forward in your devotion. At least it was the case in my case. So, but anyway, so coming back to, and on that note, I would like to add one more thing. We were cooking at home, and in our office, we discuss with our colleagues. Oh, you know what? I made this Mysore Pak. This is the world's best. And then my colleague comments that, is this the world's best, or is it the all-time best ever? In this kalpa or in the previous kalpa, or from the the present-day Brahma, or the previous Brahma, or for eternity, is this the best thing? I say, yeah, this is the best thing. Is this better than the one that Lakshmi cooks in Vaikuntha? Vishnu likes it. I say, yeah, why not? And he says, what? Does it surpass even Lakshmi's cooking? Yeah, why not? Because as a father, who would you whose cooking would you like? Your kids or your wives? I say, yeah, obviously my kids. Yeah, similarly, you're all children of God, right? Even Lakshmi would endorse that. No, this is the best thing. So in that sense, since we are children of God, we are more important to the Lord than anybody else. Yeah. Rama also says that in Uttarakanda, when he was about to renounce Sita, he says, Lakshmana, I will renounce you, Bharata and Shatrughna. What to speak about Sita? So if I can renounce you, Sita is not more important than you, because you are my kids, you are my brothers, right? The children of Lord are more important to him than his eternal consort. That's why they both descended onto earth, and mother is more merciful than the father, right? So Sita underwent all these troubles to liberate and help all the demigods, and hence she is in Ashokavatika, undergoing all the struggles. When those demons terrified her, she underwent all those troubles. So last week, Hanuman brought back the message, and then just before the message was conveyed to Lord Ramachandra, the monkeys came and decided that they want to have a party, they wanted to enjoy. So Madhuvana was destroyed, and then Dadimukha arrived at that point, and then he took a Salavruksha and approached towards the Vanaras, and then Angada intercepted him and then put him on the ground with his knees and then pressed him to the ground, and then he crushed his bones, and then he was bruised. Dadimukha was terribly hurt. Thank God that there were no fatalities. They just, they were like police beatings. There's a saying in India that when you hit somebody, it should be like a police stroke. Like outside there will not be any wound, but inside everything is broken. No proof at all. So like that, Angada crushed him on the ground and then hit him terribly. And Dadimukha was wounded. And the woebegone Dadimukha, jumped towards Prasravanagiri, where Ramachandra and Sugriva were staying. He also told his associates, these impudent monkeys cannot be taught a lesson here. Let's go and convey this message to the thick-necked Sugriva. He uses the word thick-necked there. Sugriva means, one who has a beautiful neck. Here, maybe, a thick neck is also an asset, I don't know, but, Dadimukha uses it. He says, okay, let's convey the message to the thick-necked Sugriva. Let's go there. And then they all jump towards Prasravanagiri, his associates and Dadimukha himself. He falls right on the feet of Sugriva, and then Sugriva watches his associate being beaten up. His Dadimukha is his maternal uncle, so he lifts him up and says, Dadimukha, do not be worried about anything. Tell me about all in truth. What happened? Who did this to you? Tell me all in detail. And Dadimukha replied, Oh my lord, those Vanaras who have been sent in the southern direction, the southern party arrived. Not only did they arrive, but they destroyed the Madhuvana, which has been given to you by your grandfather, and your father Riksharajas also have taken care of it for a long time. And Vali himself loved that garden grove, and you too had maintained it for a long time. But now that Madhuvana has been destroyed, the monkeys drank the honey, and the leftover honey they threw it on the ground, and they ate all the fruits and roots. And I went there to question them. Then I was being beaten up by your own son Angada, like this. Even Hanuman joined the party. So Hanuman also, joined, and then he kicked out Dadimukha and all other people. This is a very beautiful incident. Like the youngsters, wanted to party around, and the elders like Hanuman and Jambavan and Angada, they coming forward and then taking care of the kids. You enjoy, we'll take care of the rest. This is a beautiful episode. If you imagine their camaraderie and the type of affection they had, and they went through so many tribulations, right? When they went to the south in the beginning, they went to the forests near Vindhyas. They couldn't find water. They were about to die. They were all disappointed. And then Angada gave them some strength. At that time when Rakshasa came, his name was not mentioned. By just looking at him, he was so fearful that anybody would die. But all these Vanaras, even though they didn't have strength, they tried to tie their loins, they girthed their loins like a wrestler, and then they were waiting to counteract this Rakshasa. But then Angada drew all his strength into his palm and then hit on the head of that Rakshasa, and then the Rakshasa spat out blood, and then he died, poor fellow. So they went through all these troubles, and then they entered Rikshabila, where they didn't know what to do, and then where even time was not noticed, right? When they went into the Rikshabila, they couldn't even notice which season was going on outside. When they came out, it was already, the time was elapsed, and then they came out in spring season or something, So even there, they tried to, Hanuman recognized that they have to recite Ramayana, and then Hanuman recited Ramayana, and then, brought them back. Swayamprabha helped them to, help them convey outside of Rikshabila. So all these tribulations they went, and then now they are rejoicing. They recall all this. Whenever some fateful incident happens, when you are in struggles, when you share it with your friend, it's a bonding effect, right? I used to like to add an anecdote. When I was in Nashville, people were planning for a spelunking thing, going into a cave, 8-mile deep cave. And I said, why do you want to do that? They said, it's a bonding thing, all the boys, should do it, or men, should do it, it's a bonding thing. And then we went, and then it was so deep a cave, 8-mile deep, and we had to call the cops and then tell them that, if you don't come by 6 o'clock, come near the cave and check for us. And they informed all their families. Of course, I didn't have anybody close by, so I didn't inform anybody, but I just went. I was confident that we'll come out. So we went in, and it's pitch black. If you put your hand, you can't see. And then it was all uneven with rocks, and there was a bus-sized rock that fell from the top, and then everybody watches that in the third room or so. And then there's a 4-mile long tunnel inside, and then you go all the way, and you find water there, and it's so deep. And then once we did it, we were misguided in the beginning. We went to another room, and then later on we had to come back. Some people who were already there earlier, they guided us. But when we did all this stuff and then came back, yeah, it truly was a bonding thing. That party that we went, like 20 people or so, we were good friends from then. And it still continues. We talk about it still. After 4 years, we talk about the thing we have done. It is just a material thing we did. On a weekend, we went and observed the nature. Bhakti-Vikas Swami was you sharing that with me? Bhakti-Vikas Swami writes in his Ramayana that in one of his discourses, he tells, if you are closer to nature, it makes you close to God. last summer we were planting some seeds, and then we did a garden, year before or so. And out of the mud, suddenly the seed germinates, and then we see all the fruits coming out. The same mud, but it transformed into chilies, green pepper, and squash or something. It's really amazing. You can feel the presence of God when you're closer to nature. When you eat a nice sweet mango, you'll realize, how nicely he packed all this stuff without getting spoiled. But anyway, so this although this is a material act, it bonded so many people from distant places with different backgrounds. It bonded. But what to speak about these Vanaras who went on the Lord's mission, and then they accomplished this, and then they came back. How happy they should be that out of the billions and billions and billions of Vanaras, this southern party that consisted of tested and tried Vanaras such as Hanuman, Jambavan, Sharagulma, Sharari, Dvivida, Mainda, and Angada, Tara, and so forth. They thought, we succeeded, and then they were so happy, they were so proud, and we served the Lord. So they had every right to enjoy. So they enjoyed. Not only that, there is another reason behind enjoying that. We'll come over it. So now Dadimukha explained to Sugriva that, my dear Lord, they have beaten me when I tried to resist them from destroying the Madhuvana. As and when Sugriva heard this, and Dadimukha was narrating what had happened, Lakshmana intercepted and said, Sugriva, what is happening? Why are these Vanaras, destroying Madhuvana? What's going on? Then Sugriva replied to Lakshmana, O Lakshmana, Dadimukha comes here with a news that the southern party has arrived and they are destroying the Madhuvana. It is in itself a vindication, a good news. The southern party should not have come here if they had not seen Sita. Angada, I know for sure that he wouldn't come here without seeing Sita. I am pretty confident that except Hanuman, none else would have done this. I am pretty confident that Hanuman would have seen Sita. He said that. And he also continues, I have ordered a decree saying that if the party that doesn't return within a month, they shall be executed or shall undergo cube disgrace. But then the southern party arrived after passing the deadline. Still, they are arrogant enough to destroy Madhuvana. That says that they have accomplished the task. And as I said, I knew that Hanuman would accomplish it. Except Hanuman, none else can cross the 100 Yojana ocean and see Sita. Hanuman is full of intellect, valor, courage, grace, and he possesses all kinds of auspicious qualities. And I am sure that Hanuman has accomplished the task. And he also continues saying that Jambavan yatra netrasyat, Angadasya baleshwaraha, Hanuman chapi adhishtata, natasya gathiranyada. Wherever Jambavan is the leader, Angada is the commander-in-chief of the forces, and Hanuman is the able administrator, there the project cannot go otherwise. So he says that. So natasya gathiranyada. So then Lakshmana felt happy. Then Rama also comes. Then Sugriva conveys that the Vanaras, the southern party Vanaras have arrived. And he calls Dadimukha forward and says, my dear Dadimukha, go and call Angada and Hanuman and Jambavan. Ask them to present themselves in front of me. Then Dadimukha understood the state of affairs. That what's the difference between a king and an ordinary garden keeper, a gardener. So he thought, garden is the most important thing we should protect and, trying to abstract the Vanaras. But Sugriva, he's a statesman, so he knows how to deal with the state of affairs. So he said, call them. So he had a bigger vision. The Vaishnavas always have a bigger vision. So when he called, Dadimukha went back again. And I don't know how Dadimukha dared enough to go back one more time. He should be courageous, he should be more courageous than Sugriva, who went into the hands of Vali, for the second time. So Dadimukha goes back again with with his associates. He falls down there, and then he claims, "Oh Angada, my lord, you can do anything, whatever you want. You can destroy the Madhuvana, or you can drink honey. You monkeys can behave as you wish. Your father Sugriva, is desiring to have your audience. Please go and present yourself before him and Ramachandra. And then Dadimukha leaves. And then Angada calls forth all the Vanaras and said, "We have enjoyed here enough, you have drank enough honey here, you have ate enough fruits, now it is time to present ourselves before the king and Lord Ramachandra. So let's not delay any more time. I am not saying this as your Lord, but I am requesting you to go towards Ramachandra. And this is my request, and do not consider this as an order." Then the monkeys replied, "My dear Angada, Prince, my lord, you have spoken very kind words. Who else can speak like this other than you? In this world, they say that one is so proud of their wealth and belongings that they think that it is I who am controlling this. But only wise people like you can speak like this, and it shows your good fortune, the future you have in store for you." So they proclaimed it. Angada was so humble, with the Vanaras. So then all the Vanaras, they all jumped towards Prasravanagiri at the same time. Hanuman, Jambavan, Angada, and all the other Vanaras. And Valmiki mentions that they jumped towards Prasravanagiri as if stones were catapulted, with a slingshot, towards Prasravana. They all jumped like stones, in a parabolic path, and then they, landed there all of a sudden. And everybody started narrating, "We have seen Sita, we have seen Sita." And Rama was so happy that the Vanaras did their best, and then they saw the Sita. And then he asked, how is Sita? And narrate to me in detail, how is she disposed of me? How is she disposed towards me? I mean, what are her feelings towards me? When Rama questioned, all the Vanaras who came and said, "We have seen Sita," now they don't know what to say, because they didn't go. So they turned back and asked Hanuman, "Why don't you just narrate what you have done?" So then Hanuman came forward and said, first he turned around to the direction where Sita was located, in the southern direction, and then he paid his obeisances. He really did, I'm not exaggerating. So he paid his obeisances, then turned towards Ramachandra and said, "My dear Rama, Sita is a cultured lady. She is born and brought up in a good family. She is disposed of you as she was disposed earlier. And then she is emaciated in grief in your memory." And then he says, "I have seen Sita, seen have I Sita," or whatever. There's a big drama and lot of poetry around this particular verse, that what Hanuman says. But actually it was Sugriva who conveyed the news, and then the Vanaras who conveyed first the news. And then comes Hanuman, the actual person who has seen Sita. Last time, I think Mataji, when I did this, she was asking me downstairs, why did the Vanaras have to party around? Why did they waste the time? I missed one sloka here. Angada says, "It's time we should go. It is the appropriate time to go now." Because earlier, directly from Lanka, it was not appropriate for them to go to Rama. Because Rama would be tensed. Oh, what happened? If whatever word that Hanuman utters, if you say Sita, oh, what happened to Sita? Is she alive? Is she dead? What's going on? So Rama would be in a tense mood. So in order to allay all these fears, they already have, partied in Madhuvana, and that news is conveyed. So there's a big confusion here. What's going on? The Vanaras came from the southern party, and then they are enjoying here, and what's going on? There's a turmoil. The focus of the mind was shifted from Sita to, why are these Vanaras enjoying? What's the reason for this? So then Sugriva conveyed, no, Sita is safe. Hanuman have seen Sita, and that's why they are enjoying. So Rama, the news is already conveyed. Even though it's not a good analogy, I would still like to say this. There's a saying, they say that the stick should not break, but the snake should die. Even though it's not a good analogy here, but the point is, the message was conveyed even without conveying. So Rama was not in a tense mood. He already got the news, so he was situated well now. So Hanuman now can come and talk peacefully. So he came and explains that, "My dear Ramachandra, I have jumped from here, and then I have crossed the 100 Yojana ocean, and I have landed in Lanka. I conquered the garden fortress Lankini, the guardian of the fort, Lankini. I crossed into, and then I searched Ravana's palace. I didn't find her there. I went to Ashoka Vatika. There, Sita was located under a Simshupa tree, guarded by terrific demons. And there, I met Sita. I spoke to her. And then I destroyed the Rakshasas. I destroyed the fort walls. And then I burnt Lanka. I spoke to Ravana. And then I came back here. When Hanuman conveyed everything, then Ramachandra asked, how is Sita? How is Sita? How is she? Then Hanuman again explains that Sita is emaciated. She is not. She is fasting because of separation from you, and she is always thinking of you. Then Rama tells that Chiram Jivayati Vaidehim Yadi Masam Dharishyati Kshanam Saumya Najiveyatam. He says, if Sita survives for a month, that means she has survived for a long time. For me, it's impossible even to live without, even for a moment without Sita. Rama tells this. Rama explains that way. Actually, Hanuman, there's some commentaries that saying that Hanuman had a doubt that, I, a brahmachari, I'm fine, I'm a monkey, I'm fine. Why is Ramachandra a prince and a royal, he's a royal saint, and why is he so much attached to his wife? But then when he goes to Lanka, when he looks at Sita, then he concludes that for the sake of this Sita, if Rama overturns the world, if he puts his hand into the ocean and take away all the waters of the ocean and dry it up, still it is okay. This is my opinion. Hanuman concludes. And he also tells that Rajyam va trishu lokeshu Sita va janakatmaje Trailokya Rajyam Sakalam Sita va na apniyat kalam. That means the entire three worlds put together would not approach the 16th part of Sita. So great is Sita. So that's what Hanuman concludes. He also says, Dushkaram kritavan Ramo hino yadanaya prabhu dharaityatmano deham nasokena avasidati. Rama has done an impossible task of surviving for this long time from the separation of Sita. He has done an impossible task. Indirectly he is saying his heart must be as hard as a diamond. Otherwise, how would one survive without Sita? Without this Sita. When he saw Sita, he recognized, who Sita was and why Rama was, so attached to Sita. So then here Rama says, if Sita survives for a month, that means she has survived for a long time. For me, it is impossible to survive even for a moment now. Then Hanuman explains further. He asks, what did Sita ask you? What did Sita tell you? Tell me in detail. Then Hanuman tells Rama that, my dear Ramachandra, Sita has uttered these words with me. She told me the story of a crow, the incident that had happened between you and her. And also she spoke about a manashila, a stone, which when grinded against the earth produces a mineral pigment, which you had placed on her forehead, tried to place on her forehead, and then she moved, and then you had put that on her cheek. She narrated these two incidents to share with you. And she also said, and then Hanuman defines, the story of Kakasura here one more time. He tells that when you and Sita, when you were lying on the bed of Kusa grass, on the lap of Sita, Mother Sita, then this bird had arrived at that place, and then the bird, for the sake of meat, tried to pester Sita, and then it plucked out some flesh from the region under her neck. And when you got up, when you were awakened because of the blood drops that fell from Sita's body, when you woke up, then you asked Sita, "Oh bashful one," that means it's not a bad word. It means that you tolerant one, you are so shy that you don't say anything. What happened to you? Who is that fellow who is playing with the five-hooded serpent? And then he looked around and he saw the bird. Hanuman is telling that in another tense. He is talking to Rama. He is saying, then you said it, you saw around and then you looked for a bird. You saw a bird whose claws were full of blood. And then you recognized that the bird was responsible for Sita's injury. And then you pulled out a blade of grass from your mat and then you empowered it with Brahmastra missile, and then you threw it on the bird. And then the bird was chased in the 3 worlds, and then it did not get any shelter. Finally, it arrived back with you, and then it seeked your mercy. And then you forgave the bird, but still took its right eye. I think last time I said it was left eye, but it was the right eye. Yeah, because for men, right eye is the auspicious thing. So Rama took out that thing out of that bird. So this was the Kakasura episode. And then she also said, Sita doesn't speak unnecessarily anything. If she says something, there will be a reason for it. She told this Kakasura story because Rama took out a blade of grass and then uttered Brahmastra mantra, and then he hurled it against that bird. So that Ramachandra who can throw a Brahmastra missile on a bird, why is he not launching the same Brahmastra here onto these Rakshasas? I am here. So maybe it could be that I would have offended him in some way. That's why Rama is not inclined towards me. Like that Sita spoke. And this is what Hanuman conveys to Rama. And he also talks about this Manashila. Once Sita's vermilion on her forehead got wiped away because of some rain or something, because of water. Then Rama grinded another stone on the ground, and then he took that pigment, mineral pigment, and he tried to put it on Sita's forehead. But then she moved around, or she slipped, and then he had to put it on her cheek. And this was also, this was a very intimate moment. In Bhadrachalam, where they claim that Panchavati is there, there are 2 Panchavatis, one in Maharashtra and one in Andhra. Both of them claim that this is the original, this is the original. I don't know. I went to Bhadrachalam. There, they still have these stones, Manashila. So based on that, you can conclude maybe Panchavati could have been, here, or, it could have extended from that point to this point. But anyway, so Hanuman talks about that Manashila also. Then Rama, he asks further Hanuman, how is it that my shy wife is staying there in Lanka with all the terrible demons around? How is she doing? Then Hanuman tells her, Sita has expressed a grave doubt, my dear Rama. Sita expressed a grave doubt. She said that only 3 people in this universe can do this task that Hanuman has did. O Hanuma, Trayanameva Jivanam. That means only 3 can do this. One is Garuda, the other one is Vayu, your father, and you yourself. Only 3 people can cross this 100 yojana ocean. What about all those bears and monkeys that Rama made friendship with? How can they cross? How can Rama make all these animals, all these, Vanaras and bears cross the ocean? How can he do that? So then I explained to Sita that, my dear mother, in Sugriva's army, not even one Vanara is less than me. Either they are more powerful than me or they are equal to me, but none of them are lesser to me. Do you think the Vanaras are foolish to send their best man on an errand? No, the Vanaras are not like that. All the Vanaras in the Sugriva's army, they have circumambulated this planet many times. He didn't say a number, he said many times. All of them are capable of jumping 100 yojanas and coming here. So please do not worry. I myself will take Rama and Lakshmana on my shoulders and bring them to Lanka, and they will wage a war, and then they will kill all the Rakshasas, including Ravana. And then you shall see Ramachandra very soon. Kshipram Drakshasi Raghavam. He says Kshipram Drakshasi Raghavam. That means you will see Raghava very soon. And who will you see? You will see the Pattabhishikta Rama. That means Ayodhyayam Abhishiktam. That means one who is coronated as king in Ayodhya. You shall see that Rama very soon, my dear mother. So Hanuman tells this, and after Hanuman telling this, Sita is situated peacefully. And this is where Sundarakanda exactly ends. That Hanuman ends at a point saying that you shall see Rama, the coronation of Rama, very soon. And then Sita is situated peacefully. Like that he concludes his story to Ramachandra. At this point, since Hanuman talked about Pattabhishekam, tradition demands that we do Sri Rama Pattabhishekam at this point. I know some of you joined this Ramayana at the time of Pattabhishekam, right? That's where you were hearing Ramayana. for the first time?
I think I joined at the beginning.
No, I'm talking about first Ramayana when we were doing Pattabhishekam, and then a couple of people joined on that day. But anyway, so Pattabhishekam should be done. Tradition demands that Pattabhishekam should be done exactly at the end of Sundarakanda. We'll do not a detailed one, but still, we'll cover most of the topics. The Pushpaka Vimana left, Lanka, and then they reached Bharadwaja Ashrama on Chaitra Suddha Panchami. One day, Hanumat Prashak Swami was here and he was asking, some questions. And he asked, how many days after the Ravana was killed did Rama come to Ayodhya? And people were like, how can anybody say that? But Ramayana has all those details. Chaitra Suddha Panchami. So Ravana was killed on Dasami. After that, it's almost 5 days, right? After Dasami, it's 5 days up to Pradhama, and then Pradhama to Panchami again 5 days. That's 10 days already. And then after Panchami on Shashti, on 6, what do you call that? Okay, anyway, after Panchami, the next day he comes to Nandigrama. On Panchami, he is in Bharadwaja Ashrama. That's when when Bharata was waiting for Ramachandra to come, Hanuman conveys the news to Rama, news to Bharata. Actually, Rama tells Hanuman that go find out Guha first, tell him that I am coming, fetch him, and then he will show you the route to Bharata. He will show the way where Bharata is. Go to Bharata, then ask Bharata, tell Bharata that I am coming. So Hanuman goes, he conveys the news to Bharata, and then Bharata and Hanuman are waiting on the outskirts of Nandigrama, waiting for Rama. He is not coming. Then Bharata asks Hanuman, he turns towards Hanuman and says, in the 3 worlds, monkeys are famous for their mischief. I hope you are not playing any tricks with me. Then Hanuman was insulted a couple of times. Sita tells, how can you carry me? You are so little. Maybe you will drop me in the ocean. And Hanuman thinks, this is the first time I am ever insulted. That the garland of my glory. Hanuman speaks very beautifully. When he did not find Sita, he said, the garland of my glory is tainted, with the blemish of not finding Sita. And it had a strong foundation all while, but today, after a long time, my garland of glory is blemished. So now he comes and Bharata says, monkeys are famous in the 3 worlds for their mischief. I hope you are not playing any tricks. He says, no, Rama is coming, look for a while. And then there's a cloud of dust, because all the Vanaras, some of them were running, some of them were in Pushpaka Vimana. The Pushpaka Vimana came from Bharadwaja Ashrama and it landed at Nandigrama. Then Bharata, along with his servants, Shatrugna, they all went and then they prostrated in front of Ramachandra. And Rama lifted him and embraced him. And then Vibhishana dropped a tear from his eyes, because for the first time Vibhishana recognized, what a love between brothers. This is the love that we should see between brothers. And Vibhishana hadn't experienced that from his own kith and kin. Now when he saw Ramachandra's brothers, he cried. And then Rama embraced Bharata and they all went to Ayodhya. The Pattabhishekam after Sundarakanda starts with Vasishta Maharshi coronating Ramachandra. All the Vanaras are sent in the 4 directions to fetch water from all the oceans and rivers. Hanuman fetched water from 500 rivers. Similarly, Nala, Neela and other Vanaras, they went in all directions, fetched water from all the oceans they bathed Rama in that. And then Rama's mothers, Kausalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi. Kausalya especially took interest, and then she bathed all the Vanara ladies, Ruma, there's a Tara, the wives of Sugriva. What happened was, when Pushpaka Vimana left Lanka, Sugriva requests Ramachandra that, it's going via Kishkinda, why don't we just land in Kishkinda, do an emergency landing there and then pick up all the ladies from, the leading ladies of Kishkinda and then go to Ayodhya. Rama says, yes, we'll do that. Rama, I didn't tell you this. First of all, when they got into Pushpaka Vimana, Sugriva requests him that, my dear Lord, please take us also to Ayodhya. We also want to see Ayodhya and its gardens and its streets and its, how the houses are built. And Rama tells him that, if at all there is happiness in my life, that happiness would be doubled by your visit to Ayodhya. Please come. and then he takes them. And then after getting onto Pushpaka Vimana, Sugriva places forth another request. Would you please land near Kishkinda? I want to bring all the ladies of Kishkinda, all the wives of our Vanaras. So Rama says, yes, let's get down. He thought because there are many millions of Vanaras and Sita is the only lady, she doesn't have any company now. Okay, let's get down here. Okay, and then they got down and Sugriva rushed inside and then he hurried all the Vanara ladies, let's get on to Pushpaka Vimana. And then the Vanara ladies also thought, we are going to Ayodhya, if you go like this they will insult us, let's do some good makeup and then so that the civilized humans they would not insult us. Actually Tara was also an Apsarasa, she is also one of the one of the 5 beautiful women. Who are they? Ahalya, Sita, Mandodari, Tara, Draupadi. 4 of them are from Treta Yuga. One is from Dwapara Yuga. So Tara, Ruma, they all got onto the Pushpaka Vimana. Velukudi Krishnan here, he makes a nice anecdote. I was hearing to him. He said all the Vanara ladies were surprised to see Sita. And I thought, is she the Sita for whom all the Vanaras went to Lanka and then they fought? Her waist is so small and, at least she doesn't have even a tail, So, but anyway, they were surprised like that, and then they all landed in Ayodhya. So now, all the, Vanaras, they went out, they fetched water. They were accommodated in proper, houses. Rama tells Bharata, take Sugriva and give him my house, let him stay there. So Bharata caught hold of Sugriva's hand and then he took him around the palace chambers and he showed him Rama's house and he said, you stay here. So like that, they were all given visitors, palaces to stay. And then on the coronation day, they all again came out. Rama got onto the chariot and Bharata held the reins and Lakshmana Shatrughna took an umbrella, Lakshmana took a chamara, and then Vibhishana also took a fan that was like, it was like moon rays, it was silvery in color, whitish in color, and then he was fanning Rama. Sugriva also took another fan and he was also fanning Rama. The chariot, how glorious it is, with Rama, Sugriva, Vibhishana, Bharata, Shatrughna, all the, blood-related brothers, and also, the relations that developed over a period of time, because Rama says, Vibhishana, you are my 5th brother. If you are 4 brothers, you are my 5th brother. And Guha and Sugriva, they are friends. So they all went towards Rama's palace. There, Rama was being coronated by Vasishta. He poured the mantra jala on Rama. And then Vasishta crowned him with the crown that has been passed on in the Ikshvaku dynasty. It comes right from Manu. We'll talk about his lineage one more time. Why not? To please him, for the pleasure of the deities. If somebody wants to do it, please. Who knows all the lineage? Avyakta Brahman, Brahma, Marichi, Kashyapa, Vivaswan, Manu, Ikshvaku, Kukshi, Vikukshi, Bana, Anaranya, Prithu, Trishanku, Dundumara, Yavanashva, Mandhata, Susandhi, Dhruvasandhi, Prasenajit are brothers. And to Susandhi, Bharata, Asita, Sagara, Asamanjasa, Anshuman, Dilipa, Bhagirada, Kakutsta, Raghu, Pravrudha, Shankanu, Sudarshana, Agnivarna, Prashishruka, Ambarisha, Nahusha, Nabhaga, Aja, Dasaratha, Ramalakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna. And actually Kalidasa in his Raghuvamsa mentions the 25 generations from Lavakusha also, forward. Rama's sons are Lava and Kusha. Bharata's sons are Taksha and Pushkala. And Lakshmana's sons are Chandraketu and Angada. And Shatrughna's sons are Shatrughati, and I don't remember, I should have gone, I didn't check. Okay. Actually, Bharata's son is Taksha, and on his name, the city Takshashila was established. So Takshashila was so old. Now it's in Pakistan. So anyway, so Rama was this crown that has been passed on since the time of Manu, because Manu built the city of Ayodhya. Up till Vivaswan, nobody ruled Ayodhya. Manu was the one who built the city, so he had this crown and he passed on to Ikshvaku. And Ikshvaku was the first king who ruled Ayodhya. Manu did not rule. He built the city and then Ikshvaku ruled it. So that crown Rama wore on that day. Imagine how wonderful that crown could have been. With all those gems that you wouldn't even imagine. That crown was studded with all that. But Rama's beauty alone surpasses the beauty of all these crowns and jewels and what all he wore. Because without even all of those jewels, the sages of Dandakaranya felt Dadrushuhu Vismitakara. When they saw Rama, they felt astonished. What a form, with the bow and with Sita and with Lakshmana. What a form. So that Rama was crowned that day and he became the king of Ayodhya. He was the king of Ayodhya. And that Ramachandra, after the coronation, he gave a diamond-studded jewel to Sugriva. He presented a jewel and Sugriva was happy. And to Vibhishana, he gave the Kuladhana, that means Ikshvaku's deity, Ranganatha Swami. And to Dvivida Mainda, he gave some new clothes, ornaments. And to Angada, he gave armlets, which you wore here. To Angada, he gave them. And finally, he took out a pearl necklace and he gave it to Sita. And Sita, after, she donated so many things to so many people. And then she took out this pearl necklace that Rama gave. And she constantly looked at Rama and then she started staring at the Vanaras. She was looking back and forth to Rama and the Vanaras. Then Rama understood what she meant. And he said, whichever Vanara, among all these warriors, whomever you think that he is the most intellectual, courageous, dexterous, versatile, eloquent, good orator, everything, to him you shall present this pearl necklace. Then Sita looked around and she gave it to Hanuman. And then Hanuman wore it. There's an anecdote saying that Hanuman broke the piece and then checked for Rama in that pearls and everybody insulted him. Then he tore up his heart and showed Rama and Lakshmana in his heart. These things, to grandize one's devotion, we try to minimize others' devotion. I mean, the stories are good, but Hanuman did not do that. Already it is said that who is the most intelligent, eloquent, and the most versatile person? That Hanuman. How can he break the pearl necklace given by Sita? When he saw Sita, he saw Rama first. His heart went to Rama. Asya devya manah tasmin tasya asya pratishtitam ena iyam sacha dharmatma muhurtam api jivati. He says that his heart is located in her and her heart is located in him. And thus those two hearts throbbed for each other and thus they are alive even after being separated. So Sita's heart is in Rama's heart and Rama's heart is in Sita. And how can that something that Sita gives will not have Rama in it? So that's why Valmiki Ramayana is the most mature Ramayana and it's the actual Ramayana. When you hear it, it's so pleasing to the heart. So anyway, Hanuman was given that necklace, that pearl jewel, and then Hanuman wore it. And that's how Rama was coronated. And then the Vanaras lived there for 1 year. Uttarakanda mentions that they did not go away the next day. After 1 year, Rama bid farewell to all the Vanaras, and then they all went away. And Vibhishana took the Kuladhana, and then he also proceeded towards Lanka. In Uttarakanda, it is also mentioned that Yuddhajit and Janaka also came for the coronation ceremony of Ramachandra. So when he came back, so he actually bids farewell to Yuddhajit and Janaka also. So all these people were present in Rama's coronation ceremony. And then Rama ruled this earth for 11,000 years after that, as he promised when he came as Vishnu, when he promised to the Devatas that I will rule this earth for Dashavarsa Sahasrani, Dashavarsa Satani cha, that 10,000 years and 1,000 years on top of that. So for 11,000 years, Rama ruled this planet. And when Rama was ruling, there was no ill health at all to all the people of his kingdom. And the elders never witnessed the death of their children. And no woman was widowed in Rama's country. Like that, he ruled for 10,000 years. And whoever listens to this coronation ceremony of Ramachandra will have a long life. So Valmiki blesses them. And women, if they listen to this Pattabhisheka, they will have a son like Rama. And they will be in a position like Kausalya, and also Sumitra, who gave birth to Lakshmana and Shatrugna, and also Kaikeyi, who gave birth to Bharata. Even Kaikeyi is very benevolent lady. In Ramayana, everybody has slipped their tongue, once or twice. They are all, it's natural. But again, to come back and being situated in your own, in your actual nature is what Ramayana teaches. So even Rama, when Sita was grabbed by Viradha, he tells Lakshmana that Lakshmana, looks like Kaikeyi's desires are fulfilled now. Looking at Sita's troubles. Even he says that. But at the same time, when Lakshmana abuses his mother Kaikeyi, when he was narrating the spring season to Rama, the winter season to Rama, when Rama was taking, a bath in that Godavari river, and he says, how beautiful is Bharata, how handsome he is. He has a slender waist, he's blue in color. He goes every day to the river at 4 o'clock, just like you, in the Pratah Kala, in the Brahma Muhurta. And then he switches gears and then gets into, but how come that Bharata was born to that mother Kaikeyi, and then he starts abusing Kaikeyi. Then Rama stops him and says, stop. Nate amba madhyama garhitavya katanchana ikshvakunadhasya bharatasya katam kuru. Talk about Bharata, do not talk about my mother Kaikeyi. So Kaikeyi was an auspicious lady. She's witty among all the mothers of Rama, and she was young, beautiful. So usually children are attracted to young people, who have symmetric faces and beauty. So Rama was attracted to Kaikeyi in the sense she's his wittiest mother, and she used to give him all kinds of humor that Rama liked. Even Dasarada, that's the beauty. Even Dasarada enjoyed Kaikeyi's presence because Rama was always with Kaikeyi. So he was with his wife and also his favorite child. He was with his favorite wife and with his favorite child. So Kaikeyi was the mother in whose palace Rama spent most of his time. So Valmiki blesses here all the ladies who listen to Ramayana that you will bear a son like Rama, and you will be situated in a motherly position like Kausalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi. And Valmiki continues that during the rule of Rama, none of them had ill health. All the crops, they yielded the harvest at the appropriate time. And the rains, there was rainfall at the appropriate time. Usually it is said that morning it should be sunny and in the night it should rain. That's when it is good for the crops and also, for any vegetation. Seattle kind of meets that criteria except for the part that, there's no sun, but 50% of it is met. But other places, they don't have even that, right? And then Valmiki continues that if Kshatriyas listen to this story, they will get a kingdom back. They will get a kingdom and then they will be prosperous. And if Vaishyas hear this story, they will earn a lot of money in their business. And if Shudras hear this story, they will become very popular in the job, whatever they are doing. Of course, in Kali Yuga, there are no Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, everybody is a Shudra. So we will all be, and no Brahmanas in the first place. That's why somebody was telling me, oh, Prabhu, in India, there's a lot of conversions going on. Christians, Hindus are becoming Christians and, becoming Muslims and that. It's not, instead of blaming that, that failure, it's our failure to make, to, what do you call, to make Hindus remain Hindus. It's our failure as Brahmanas, in the sense that I am not a Brahmana, in the sense that as devotees, we should cultivate people to be Hindus. It's our failure, it's not somebody else's success. It's our failure to keep them interested and engaged, in this philosophy and all these things. I was hearing to Dr. Subramanian Swami, who who bought out this 2G spectrum scam and all that, even though he's a Harvard professor in economics and whatever he is, he's a strong and staunch supporter of Hindutva. He said, we cannot stop corruption, by any force, by any brute force. It has to be stopped, from the heart, within. And how they are going to stop? He gave an example that, Julia Roberts, one of, a Hollywood actress, she converted to Hinduism because, Sanatana Dharma, there's nothing like Hinduism in Sanatana Dharma. She took up this Vedic religion. When she was asked the reason, she said, when I went to India, I looked at the streets, people were poor, but they were happy. And I found out that this Vedic religion is what is keeping them happy. Because if you see all the Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, they live a simple life. Rajagopalachari, he was a politician, he was the Governor General of India, but he had only a simple house, one room one room, and he has a library. He had a library, and he was so intelligent that he predicted. He was like Chanakya in politics. He predicted that give Pakistan away and it will crumble itself within 25 years, and it happened, right? Bangladesh was split. But he was so intelligent. He was Vaishnava. He was the Governor General of India, but still he lived a simple life. That is Vaishnava philosophy. Not going behind money and all that. Because happiness is there here itself. Many people told me to put PowerPoint and all that for Ramayana, but no. Our strong belief is that Ramayana, can make people engage again in this Vedic religion without any devices or without any modern equipment. Not that we are not well versed with any Microsoft product, but or not that we are against it. They support our temple, so we endorse Microsoft products. But the point is, we don't want to use any kind of presentation, because that's a strong belief in Ramayana itself, the literature of Valmiki. That if you say it as it is, if you tell it, just narrate Valmiki Ramayana, the crowd would listen, and this is testimony. And we don't need any other extra support for this Vedic religion. Similarly, there are many rituals and festivals in this Vedic religion that can engage you to be closer to God, right? Day in and day out. If you look at our Panchanga, every day is a festival. That Chaturdasi, this Panchami, this Ekadasi, this every day is a festival, right? It engages you with the God. It's not just a mere ritual. Sri Ramanavami, how is it celebrated? Long time ago, at least when I was a kid. Yeah, long time ago. I was listening to one of the sannyasis, Hridayananda Swami. He was addressing a crowd in Atlanta. When I was in Atlanta, he said, when I was 21 years old, and he stopped and looked around all the kids and said, yeah, I was also 21 years old once upon a time. Everybody was laughing, like that, a long time ago, how Sri Ramanavami was celebrated. On Ramanavami day, we woke up early, take shower, go to Rama's temple, and then come back. And then in your own house, for your main deity, you offer Karpur Harati, you offer a coconut, and then you offer, there's a fan made from palm tree leaves, I don't know if you are aware of it or not. Fans are made from palm tree leaves. They knit, with hands, and then they make palm tree leaves. On that fan, they cut cantaloupes. In India they are called something else, but it's a fruit very similar to cantaloupe. It's much sweeter. They cut the cantaloupes and then put on top of that fan, and then they use this vadapappu. That means they soak moong dal. They put some green chilies in it, and then they soak moong dal, and then they make panaka. They dissolve jaggery in water, and then they add a little bit of pepper in it, black pepper in it. And it tastes just like sugarcane juice, just like sugarcane juice. If you don't have sugarcane juice available, just mix jaggery in water, put some black pepper, and put some little elaichi. It tastes just like sugarcane juice. And then they put sugarcane juice, and then they distribute it to every home. They give each fan, and each fan goes to one family, You distribute it to your neighbors. And then they eat the cantaloupe, they eat the vadapappu, the dal, and then they drink the, panaka, and then they fan themselves with that fan. It's a plate, right? After eating everything from the plate, they wash it and then they fan it. Because Ramanavami occurs in hot summer, in April, Chaitra Masa. He was born on 9th day of Chaitra Masa, right? So on that day, they just keep fanning it. It's hot, and then they use that fan. So like that, it used to be celebrated. And throughout the streets, I don't know about north, I haven't been to the north. Some of you who know, you can share with me. But throughout the streets of southern India, they put up tents, and they make tents with bamboo. What do you call? Not bamboo. They are some kind of wooden poles, and then they tie it with coconut leaves. They take a coconut leaf and then they tie it with that, and then they put panaka there, and then they keep on distributing to all the poor, anybody, even the rich stop by, and then they take it as prasadam. They celebrate Rama's birthday like that, because when Rama was ruling the kingdom, everywhere it was Rama, Rama, Rama. Wherever you see, it was Rama. Yasya Ramo na pasyetu, yamcha Ramo na pashyati, nindanti Swaatma enam api vigarhate. That means if you had not seen Rama, if Rama had not seen you, then even your own heart will blame you that you have not seen Rama. What a life have you lived? What a life have you lived? Like that. So it was all Ramamaya. It was full of Rama. Rama was everywhere. Everybody loved Rama. They say that even the inanimate objects were sad when Rama left Ayodhya. Like that, we were also there in Rama's kingdom in Ayodhya once upon a time, maybe as a rock or a blade of grass or a mosquito. We don't know, right? Natvayevahum jatunasham natvam neme janadipa na chaivam na bhavishyama sarve vayam atah param. Krishna says that, Arjuna, these kings that you think that you are going to kill, they have been existing since eternal time, since long time, and there will never be a time that they will cease to exist. They are there forever. All the jivatmas are there forever. So we were also there in Ayodhya, some time back, in Treta Yuga. So that's why we still remember it in the deepest of our memories. You just have to stir it up to bring out that memory. That's why during Ramanavami, it all comes back. When people are celebrating Ramanavami, you also feel, that atmosphere is there, that Rama's birthday, Rama once upon a time ruled this earth, and our attachment is awakened. In our consciousness, our memory of Lord Ramachandra is awakened. Anyway, saying, the point is, it will engage you in devotion, much more. So that's why it is important to foster this Vedic religion and continue the tradition of Ramayana. So with this we conclude our Sundarakanda. Any questions?
Why do we do this Pattabhishekam?
Pattabhishekam after Sundarakanda? Yeah, Sundarakanda, when Hanuman sees Sita, he concludes that from now on, Sita's chastity had already killed Ravana and the Rakshasas. So Hanuman decides it. So from now on, the Vanaras and Rama and Lakshmana have to just throw stones to kill those, Rakshasas. So that means Ramayana is Hanuman going and seeing Sita.
Anticipating the
is itself. And also he concludes Sundarakanda with the sloka that, Kshipram Drakshasi Raghavam and Abhishiktam Ayodhyayam. He tells Sita that very soon you will see the Pattabhisheka of Rama. Since Hanuman had told it to Sita, we just do it right away. So that Sundarakanda marks the end of the troubles of Sita. Why to continue up to Yuddhakanda? So let's end that today itself. And then the Yuddhakanda, it's just done for the sake of it. But we will do it in detail, killing of Ravana and Rama's exploits and Hanuman's bravery and how he brings back Sanjeevani Parvata and saves Lakshmana, and so many wonderful things in Yuddhakanda also. And Sugriva's chivalry, when Rama and Lakshmana are down, Sugriva tells, okay, Jambavan, Sushena, you take Rama and Lakshmana to Kishkindha and heal all their wounds. Meanwhile, I single-handedly will kill Ravana and then bring back Sita to Kishkindha. All these things, when you hear, you feel certain amount of confidence that your associates, the associates of Ramachandra, Sugriva, Angada, each and everybody is so powerful that when you are in trouble, pray for them, they'll come and protect you. Yeah, you are not alone, right? We have all these friends, kith and kin, Rama, Lakshmana, and his servants, Vibhishana, Sugriva, Angada, Nala, Neela, Gandhamadana, Gavaya, Gajaksha, Dvivida, Mainda, who else? Sushena, Saragulma, Sarari, Suhotra, Hanuman is there. Like that, all these Vanaras, they will come for your rescue. So anyway, so that's why we do Pattabhishekam at the end of Sundarakanda. And elders have done it, so we just have to follow elders, just like a cheerful boy follows the grand caravan, without questioning. He sees a grand caravan, he is interested to follow it, right? Similarly, we should also follow tradition like that. That's what Rama tells to Bharata. When Bharata asks Rama to come back to Ayodhya, then Rama tells, my dear boy, we should all follow dharma, just like a boy with alacrity, follows a grand caravan without questioning. He is interested to follow it. That's all. So like that, it's a tradition. So I don't know exactly, the entire detail, but I think, these are two reasons why we do Pattabhishekam at the end of Sundarakanda. Yeah.
I had one question. Even I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you were telling a Pattabhishekam along with Janaka, someone else will.
Yuddhajit.
Who is
Yuddhajit is the brother of Kaikeyi. He is the maternal uncle of Bharata. Yeah.
So I have one question. So why were all the powerful Vanaras who sent in the southern direction? Did they already anticipate that Sita would be there? Like all Jamban, Hanuman, and Amber.
Yeah, because when the Vanara chiefs, the 5 Vanara chiefs, Sugriva, Nala, Nila, Tara and Hanuman, when they were sitting on the Rishimuka Parvata, Sita threw the bag, right, bundle of jewels. They saw the Ravana was going in the southern direction. So there was an anticipation that, it was in the southern direction. That's why Sugriva knew from, in the beginning he might not knew that Ravana was exactly in southern direction, because he told Rama that, my dear Ramachandra, I don't know where Ravana is. Some people have alleged that Sugriva is hiding a fact and trying to put his interests before Ramachandra's interests. But the fact is, Sugriva would be a far more powerful ally, as the lord of his tribe, as the king of Kishkinda, than as a pretending, contender for the, crown of Kishkinda, right? Or as a fugitive Vanara prince, right? So that's why, and also if he launches an enterprise of searching Sita, you don't know what routes that Vali would take. He would he would join hands with Ravana. You don't know. So first things first, Vali had to be killed. So that's why Sugriva said, I don't know where Ravana is. Maybe he's saying the truth. He doesn't know where Ravana is. He just is assuming that Ravana may be in the south. Maybe what if he is not there? So he doesn't want to convey any wrong message to Rama. He said, I don't know where Ravana is. But then after Rama killing Vali, he stayed with Tara, right? For a long time, at least for the 4-month rainy season. During that time, Tara knew all this because Vali was a friend of Ravana. Vali conveys everything, whatever happens in Lanka. So Tara knew all these facts. That's why Tara tells Lakshmana that Sugriva had summoned crores and crores of monkeys so that they would cross the ocean to fight against the millions of Rakshasas that are residing in Lanka. How did she came to know about this fact? Because she knew that Ravana was in Lanka, from the information that Vali had given. So she might have passed it on to Sugriva. So that's why he had an impression that Ravana might be the chances are that he might be in the south. So that's why he dispatched the most tested and tried Vanaras to the south. Yeah. And yeah.
So like the Kishkinda time, because the things were around the Kishkinda, what was the significance of Sundarkanda?
Oh, Sundare Sundare Ramaha, Sundare Sundarim Kadha, Sundare Sundari Sita, Sundare Sundara Kapihi. Like that, Rama is beautiful, the story is beautiful, and the Vanara is beautiful too. And that's why in this episode, all the beautiful things happen. And even literary, Valmiki also shows his skills here. Some of the sargas, couple of chapters, they are called Antyaprasa sargas. That means they end with the same words, like, lyrically. Sanatane Vatmani Sannivishtam Ramekshanam Tam Madanabhivishtam Vartur Manah Srimad Anupravishtam Stribhyo Varabhyascha Sada Visishtam. They all end with the same word, right? Rhyme, they all rhyme together. So like that there are Antaprasa sargas. And beautiful Lanka was described, beautiful Sita was described, and beautiful Hanuman's beauty was also described. And then when Hanuman went into the Ashoka Vatika, and then when he was jumping from one tree to the other, the tree shed flowers on Hanuman, and then he was looking like a Pushparadha. That means a chariot made of flowers. Everything in Sundarakanda is so beautiful. And that's why, I can't speak for Valmiki Maharshi, but, that's why he could have named it as Sundarakanda. The Kanda itself is so beautiful. And all the good things happen from here. Ramayana takes a U-turn from here, right? Until then, the Devatas were troubled, and Dasharatha was troubled. Okay, he had a son, little happiness, he got married, okay, furthermore. But then he was again exiled to the forest, and then Rama lost Sita. It was all, calamity after calamity, calamity after calamity. But it's the first time that Hanuman had found Sita, destroyed some Rakshasas for the sake of it, and then he returned back. So that's why it's called Sundarakanda. Yeah.
The second one is that the true in this Valmiki's Ramayana that the Vali was holding the Ravana in under arms for a couple of months?
I don't know the duration, but yes, he did. Not couple of months, I would say, maybe for a day, because he was doing his Sandhya Vandana. He was offering his oblations in the morning, the Gayatri, and then Ravana came behind him, slowly like a cat, trying to get hold of Vali. But then Vali observed it from his eyes, and then he grabbed Ravana, and then he flew to the southern ocean. There he offered his oblations, then he flew to the western ocean, then to the northern ocean, and then again to the eastern ocean, and then he came back again to Kishkinda. So, in a single day, he offered all his oblations. So, it could be for a month. And then when he got down in Kishkinda, there Ravana praises the prowess of Vali, saying, you are so powerful, who are you, Mahatma? Then they become friends. Birds of same feathers flock together. So, they became friends, and then they went inside Kishkinda. So, this is that's how they become friends. But then you might have a question, like, who is powerful, Ravana, Vali, or Hanuman? Since it is Sundarakanda, we have to talk about glories of Hanuman. Rama says in Uttarakanda, I know that Vali and Ravana are very powerful, but I think Hanuman is more powerful than these two. Because these impudent fellows, they are only powerful. They don't have intelligence. They don't have the same skill as Hanuman. But Hanuman is eloquent, he's a, he's a versatile person. He knew Vedas, he knew everything, what needs to be done at an appropriate time. He was the appropriate messenger, he was the best messenger. So that's why Rama praises in future in Uttarakanda also about Hanuman's strength. Rama considers Hanuman being the most powerful of all living entities. Actually, Agastya says that Brahma blesses Hanuman to be the Bhavishyat Brahma, the Brahma of the future in the next this Brahma will rule another for 49 more years. We are in the 51st year of the present Brahma, so he would live for another 49 years. That's a very, very long time. It's inconceivable. If his one day is 4.3 billion years, so 4.3 billion years times 365 times 100. I think it sure is greater than the money that these people have eaten in 2G spectrum. So it's still greater. Ramayana had more greater numbers than what is described in the modern day.
The judge was saying that this 2G spectrum you cannot count the zeros in there.
Yeah, I think there are 11 zeros. I think, So, but it's never ending. But 11 zeros. But the Vanara army was 10 to the power of 55.
So Hanuman will rule the next Brahma.
Be the next Brahma. All these positions, Indra only will be Indra for some Manvantaras. Manvantaras means, they last only within a day of Brahma. Like 14 Manvantaras make up a day of Brahma. So Indra will be only Indra for certain Manvantaras. We are in the 7th Manvantara. Maybe in the coming 10th Manvantara, Indra might not be the Indra. There might be another Indra. Because this Kali Yuga will end at 427,000 years. We have seen recently that some people were holding boards and that the world will be destroyed. And everybody will be talking. Whenever I say this, people say, Prabhu, what about 2012? I said, in 2012, except my visa, nothing is ending. Everything else will be here as it is. Don't worry. We still have 2.16 billion years to go for this day. Since I see so many newcomers, if you are interested, you should sign up for Ramayana. So for them, I will detail again. Of the 7 Manvantaras, we have only passed 6 manvantras. We are in the 7th manvantra, and each manvantra has 72 mahayugas. And one mahayuga has 4 yugas: Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Out of all these 4 yugas, the least is Kali Yuga, which is 432,000 years. And Dwapara Yuga is twice of this, Treta Yuga is thrice of this, and Krita Yuga is 4 times this. So one mahayuga, makes up 4.3 million years. Okay, like that there are 72 such mahayugas in one manvantara. So in the present day of Brahma, we have passed only 6 manvantras. Like we are in the noon time or so. Right now sun is right in the middle portion. I mean, it's 12 noon right now according to in the Brahma's schedule. So in that Vaivasvata manvantara, which is the manvantara of the sun, we are in the 28th mahayuga. There are 72 mahayugas even in the 7th manvantara, right? So we are at an early stage. We are in the 28th mahayuga, and Ramayana happened in the 24th mahayuga, which is 3 Treta Yugas before. That means around 17 million years. I don't know if you remember this calculation I told you earlier about Yajnavalkya, what he did. Yajnavalkya calculated the distance between sun and earth. He said you can place 108 suns between earth and the sun. And even modern science agrees with it. It says that you can place 108 suns between earth and sun. And Yajnavalkya also said that you can place 108 moons between earth and moon. But the modern science says, no, you can place 110 moons between earth and moon. But there is no surprise. Moon is moving away by 38 mm per year, every year. So then I calculated, some spreadsheet calculation, very simple. And then to see how long it would have taken for the moon to move away 2 diameters of its distance. And it seems to be 23 million years. It took moon 23 million years to move away from earth, for a distance of, let's say, moon is around 6,000 kilometers in diameter, like 12,000 kilometers or so. And then so when Yajnavalkya recorded these calculations, he did this 23 million years ago. And Yajnavalkya interacted with Janaka. Janaka felicitated Yajnavalkya. And Ramayana, Vyasa says in Bhagavatam that this Ramayana happened in the 24th Mahayuga of the present day Manvantara. So that is 17 million years ago. So that itself is a proof. I mean, some people say, 17 million years ago, there were dinosaurs, there was no mankind, nothing. Who knows all this, You can question anything, right? The Shastras are there, they clearly depict what was there. They talk about the lineages of kings, beyond 600 BC, up to the time of Jarasandha in Dwapara Yuga. They detail out all the kings. And no such history is written anywhere else on this planet except, the Indian history, So this is all a proof. And they say that one simple question I ask all the time. They say Darwin's theory, right? 100 million years back, there were dinosaurs. Yeah, we agree that there were, dinosaurs were also mentioned in Vedas, but in a different way. They spoke about an animal called a Vyali. Vyali is an animal that has, 100 elephant strength, but it is a fierce predator as a tiger. What animal can be of an elephant strength and at the same time as fierce as a predator? It could be, the T-Rex, whatever they're talking about. They named it T-Rex, I don't know, Coffee Rex or whatever, So it's the same, right? Like that, even the Vedas talk about some. Valmiki spoke about some elephants that had 2 tusks. I hope your knees are okay. Otherwise, tell me, I'll stop. I'm doing this for the newcomers, so that to generate some interest in them. So Valmiki saw elephants with two tusks. He mentions that in Lanka there were elephants with 2 tusks. And yeah, there are elephants, some ancient paleo world creatures that had 4 tusks, not 2 tusks, 4 tusks. 2 tusks we can see even to this day, right? Yeah, 4 tusks. Yeah, elephants were there. So that itself shows that they have seen so many things from the past, they're very old. It took me 14 years to find out a recipe, for, it's just a normal pongal. Just a normal pongal recipe, it took 14 years to find out how to make that pongal. I was adding mustard seeds all the time. Just remove that mustard seeds, it tastes as good as the pongal made in Tirupati. It took me 14 years to figure out that. And it took me 14 years to figure out, to eliminate, jeera in the tadka that you put for the dal. Just to come up with a recipe, So all these foodstuffs that we have, Indian cuisine is the most elaborate and the most fantastic, cuisine, in the world, right? They have everything. To figure out all this stuff, imagine how long would it have taken for people to find out, in oil, if you put mustard seeds and, these cumin seeds, it tastes awesome. To figure out just that, how long it would have taken for them. So our culture existed since long time, People say, because India was ruled by the colonial Christians, they say everything for them starts around 5000 BC, or 3000 BC, because the Bible says 5000 years ago, the God created this world, right? Because the Bible says that. So for them, if they find anything that is beyond 5,000 years, they cannot digest it. So they say, the Egyptian pyramid, it's built around 3000 BC. Oh, you found an artifact, that looks like it's 35,000 years. Oh, no, it's 35, 3000 BC. Only in the recent times, the archaeologists started moving back, slowly, 1,000 years, and 1,000 years, and 1,000 years. Now they agree that modern man was existing since 10,000 years or before that, because it's all influenced by the Christian thing, and we accept it and we read it. We take it for granted that all the history that we read was right. They come and tell me that Ashoka ruled India around 200 BC. Even that is not right. And I was reading, by Aryabhatta's calculations. According to Aryabhatta, Ashoka appeared around 1200 BC or so, not 3000 BC, not 300 BC. It's even older. So even the modern history of India was moved, forward by the British, colonial British, because they wanted to plant a seed in the mind of the Indians that they are inferior to, the British. So that's how they were able to rule and control the country, and we take it for granted. And you might ask, what is the necessity for us to, learn about all this, and what's the point? What's the point? The point is, as long as you think that you are inferior, you cannot invent anything, and you cannot behave in a superior way. We always think that we are inferior to somebody. No, this Vedic religion is the most superior of all. And it's not about comparing religions. It's for the benefit of mankind. The sages selflessly have given out this knowledge. How to be peaceful and how to be happy. They have laid out these, principles. Manu Samhita says, and I'm just telling you for an anecdote, in Manu Samhita it is mentioned that if a driver, a cart driver, a horse-drawn carriage driver, he should be punished, if he is not skilled in driving that thing. They have driver's licenses even in those days, right? They say that if the axle of the cart is broken, or if the reins are broken, if he is not able to control the bullocks or horses, if he yells out to move away from the way, and if he tries all his ways to protect people, then he should not be punished even if there is an accident. So even in those days, road accidents were there. Manu Samhita says this. To gain that knowledge, takes a long time. And it says that the passengers in the cart, if they hire a driver who is not skilled in driving, the horse-drawn carriages, even then they should be punished. If you, the other day we were talking about plumbing and all that, you need a license, to be a plumber here, to do some things. If you do some things without a license, it's illegal or something, right? Even civil engineers need a license to sign off something here. So their licenses were there even during the time of, Manu. It's all written down, laid out, in the form of rules in Manu Samhita. Only because we don't know them, we just take it easy and we think, this is all, rituals, and these are not, scientific like that. But if you read the Vedas, everything is laid out. They know how to talk to the nature. They know how to control the nature. They can do a yajna and then they can make it rain. You might not believe, even to this day, if there is an yajna, it will rain. Dr. Fritz Stahl from California, he's an Indologist. He did a study in India in 1977 or so. He resurrected the ritual called Agni Chayana. He built a Vedic altar which is a 12-day ritual which happens in a yajna. So they built this Garuda Vedi in the form of an eagle, with all the bricks that are in different forms, like parallelograms, triangles, and all that. When you have to fit them together, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You need a lot of calculations and intelligence to cast all those bricks. And the layer by layer, they consecrate it for 12 days. And at the end of the ritual, they burn down the entire thing, and then it's called Purnahuti. And then they burned down. That day, 1975, did it rain? Yes, it did, says the Indian Express newspaper. You can go back and check it. So there's a proof. They know how to communicate. They don't need a weather satellite to forecast, whether that tornado is going to destroy my city or not. No matter what, it's going to destroy, right? Meteorologists, they can't predict tomorrow's weather, but they predict global warming. How many of you are advocates of global warming? The discussion here is more interactive to get you more engaged with the Vedic this thing. We take it for granted that global warming is happening, right? Most of us, like people who think they are very progressive, very scientific, they say that, oh, there's global warming. But in fact, a person, who is more, scientific than us, he's a doctor from Harvard, Michael Crichton, he had a medical degree from Harvard, and he wrote many science fiction novels too. He died, he passed away recently. He said, there are so many variables in these models that you cannot predict what's going to happen, after 100 years. There was warming even in 18th century, 100 years ago. The temperatures rose up and then they went back again. But today, we just take it for granted that there is global warming. Everything, green technology. They say, okay, we're putting all our money in green technology. What are they putting the money into? It's just the green paint. Green technology need not be written in a green letters, right? We are literate people, but to influence you, they use all these techniques. Somebody was telling me, I went to a traffic engineering conference. One engineer got up and said, all the traffic, pedestrian lights, they have this hand symbol, right, to stop, blinking hand. Have you noticed blinking hand? He said 95% of the US citizens are literate. They know English. They know how to read English. You should say, don't walk. It's more clear than a red hand, showing. Somebody might think, oh, it's saying that give me 5. And he might jump and then, hit it and then break it. And he was just joking around. But, his point is, we just need letters we can understand. We are smart enough, right? We don't need a green lettering. But everything you see is painted in green just to influence, Because there's nothing like green technology, Whatever you do is going to pollute, according to what they say. Green technology is eat in a leaf made from, banana plantain tree, and then eat in that leaf, and then throw that leaf outside. The cow will come and eat it, and then the cow's dung, and then make it into a dung biscuit, and then put it back into the stove. That's green technology, That's Vedic philosophy. That's the Vedic technology, and that's greener than anything that is, the so-called green. So that's why, you should be serious, take to devotion. And these rules are all laid out, for the benefit of your own, families, right? Ramayana is for your benefit. If you read Ramayana, there is more peace. People become more sober. Research proves that our elders were more sober than us, right? Their tempers are, longer. Our buildings are tall, but our tempers are short, right? That's because, we are not listening to Harikatha anymore. Whereas our elders, they go every evening to the temple, they listen to a Harikatha, they are peaceful. They have enough, pleasure. They are not behind, I don't need an iPod, that gives me happiness, The object is something that is an inanimate, that doesn't have life. How can it give me happiness? It cannot by itself be happy. How can that device give me happiness, right? It's a person, or, your mother or your father or your friend or your teacher will give you happiness. It's a person who can give you happiness. A person, can give you happiness. So that's what our Vedic religion, preached all the while. So you take serious, come to the temple, chant, and then, be a vegetarian. That's what the Vedas have proposed. And then if you take this more seriously, this world will be a much better place. If you want to change the world, the first step begins with, taking Vedic philosophy, into your life. Culminating, all the principles that are laid out in our Vedas. So with that, we'll conclude. Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunatmane Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam. Hare Krishna. Those who want to sign up for our Ramayana class can come and give me their emails. I will